Assalamu alaikum. Now I would like to discuss about the diseases of the anterior pituitary gland. First of all, I would like to discuss on pituitary adenoma. In pituitary adenoma, there is functional and non-functional. The pituitary adenomas are functional or non-functional. In non-functional tumor, there is mass effect. So as there is mass effect, the symptoms would be headache. There is bitemporal hemianopia and hypopituitarism. Bitemporal hemianopia and hypopituitarism. It occurs hypopituitarism. Why hypopituitarism? It occurs due to compression of the anterior pituitary gland. Hypopituitarism. Okay. Why there is bitemporal hemianopia? Because pituitary gland sits on the scilla tarsica. If there is mass and pituitary gland sits on the scilla tarsica, and near the scilla tarsica there is optic chiasm. If there is a mass and it involves optic chiasm, it causes this bitemporal hemianopia or tunnel like vision. Okay, what are the functional tumor of pituitary adenoma? In regarding to functional tumor, first you have to remember about prolactinoma. What is prolactinoma? Prolactinoma is a tumor which secretes prolactin. Okay, it's a tumor that secretes prolactin, and it presents as for women it is amenorrhea and galactorrhea. And for female, it is for female, and for male this is decreased libido and headache. These are the common features of this pituitary adenoma called prolactinoma. Okay. What is a pathophysiology behind this prolactinoma? Actually, prolactin, what does prolactin do? Prolactin inhibits FSH and LH. Actually, prolactin inhibits FSH and LH. As there is no FSH and LH, so there is a decreased libido in male and amenorrhea in female. Amenorrhea and galactorrhea in female. And second of all, we know that male, this is the breast and this is the terminal duct. We know that breast is composed of terminal duct lobular unit. In male there is only terminal duct, no lobular unit. As there is no lobular unit, so there is no way of secreting milk from the male breast. So in male there is only libido, but in female there is amenorrhea and galactorrhea. How can you treat this patient? By giving dopamine agonist like a bromocriptine or cabergoline, which will suppress the prolactin production and also shrink the tumor. Dopamine agonist, bromocriptine and cabergoline. Okay, now next is growth hormone cell adenoma. If it happens in children, it is called gigantism. If it happens in adult, if it happens in adult, it is called acromegaly. If it happens in children, it is called gigantism. And if it is happened in adult, if it is happened in adult, it is called acromegaly. Acromegaly for adult, gigantism for children. In gigantism, there is increased linear bone growth. There is increased linear bone growth, and epiphyses are not fused. 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 On the other hand, if it happens in adult, it is called acromegaly. Acromegaly. What happens in acromegaly? There is enlarged hands and feet. There is sorry. There is enlarged hands and feet. There is enlarged hands, and there is enlarged hands and feet. There is enlarged hands and feet. And second of all, there is growth of the visceral organ leads to growth of the visceral organ. There is growth of visceral organ. There is growth of visceral organ. There is enlarged hands and feet, growth of the visceral organ. There is enlarged tongue. There is enlarged tongue. It is secondary to diabetes mellitus. Secondary diabetes mellitus is often present in this acromegaly. Secondary diabetes mellitus is also present in acromegaly. In acromegaly, there is secondary diabetes mellitus. How can you diagnose the patient is suffering from acromegaly? You should do IGF, insulin like growth factor, and growth hormone is increased growth hormone and insulin like growth factor. Increased growth hormone and insulin like growth factor, along with lack of growth hormone suppression. By when we give oral glucose, actually there is growth hormone is suppressed, but in spite of giving oral glucose, there is no suppression of growth hormone and insulin like growth factor. And that is the way of diagnosing acromegaly. Treatment is somatostatin analog, that is octreotide. Somatostatin analog, that is octreotide. And you can use growth hormone receptor antagonist, growth hormone receptor antagonist, that is pegvisomant. Now, if you think about hypopituitarism, that means insufficient production of hormone by the anterior pituitary gland. In here, there is insufficient production of hormone by the anterior pituitary gland. There are causes are pituitary adenoma, or craniopharyngioma. Pituitary adenoma in adult and craniopharyngioma in children. Craniopharyngioma in children and pituitary adenoma craniopharyngioma in children and pituitary adenoma in adult. It may be due to mass effect or pituitary apoplexy. It may be due to mass effect or pituitary apoplexy. What does it mean? What is pituitary apoplexy? It simply means bleeding into the adenoma. In pituitary apoplexy, there is bleeding into the adenoma. There is bleeding into the adenoma. There is bleeding into the adenoma. So adenoma will rapidly grow and compress the tissue. Adenoma will rapidly grow and compress the tissue. Adenoma will rapidly grow and compress the tissue. Okay, next is Sheehan syndrome. What is Sheehan syndrome? In Sheehan syndrome, what happens during pregnancy? There is high demand of hormone. In Sheehan syndrome, what happens in Sheehan syndrome? In pituitary, during pregnancy, there is a high demand of hormone. There is high demand of hormone, but in so pituitary glands becomes double in size due to these pituitary gland double in size. Pituitary gland double in size due to this high demand of hormone, but its blood supply is not doubled when there is bleeding or when there is excess bleeding during parturition, and that causes pituitary gland to undergo infarction and leading to Sheehan syndrome. What happens in Sheehan syndrome? The breast milk is not coming from the woman. There is poor lactation, loss of pubic hair. Breast milk is not coming after repeated suckling by the baby because there is poor lactation. Now last is empty sella syndrome. In empty sella syndrome, what happens? In the empty sella syndrome, there is congenital defect of the sella. Congenital defect of the sella. Congenital defect of the sella. There is herniation of the arachnoid and CSF into the sella compresses and destroys the pituitary. Herniation of the arachnoid and herniation of arachnoid and CSF into the sella. Herniation of arachnoid and CSF into the sella and destroys the pituitary gland. You will get absent pituitary gland on imaging, and that's all. Inshallah, you will be benefited.